Hey everyone, welcome to DevRel Asia conference. It's virtual, it's Diwali, and so much more happening. And I'm Arko from Microsoft, working at the developer relations team based out of Bangalore, India. And today I'm going to talk about a few things which around DevRel, of course, and we all know the transition that we all have come across, right? And DevRel has changed over the years, especially this year, and it changed completely because our thoughts, our understanding of DevRel and everything around the developer ecosystem, how we look into it, everything has changed. And I'm going to talk about these changes that we all had. These changes are like reflections, I would say, and reflections of a lot of us. It's not just me talking probably today. I'm trying to storytell some of the experiences of a lot of content contributors, community contributors, and advocates who are there in the community. So it's a storytelling experience. And I'm not going to give you tips and tricks of running an amazing DevRel program or something like that, but this is more from experiences that I'm trying to share of a lot of people out there. Key phrase words, keywords that you'll come across every time when you see DevRel in the picture. And when I mean DevRel in the picture, I mean to say you talk to someone in this ecosystem who is doing DevRel for a living, or doing advocacy for a living, building communities for a living, helping communities build, and a lot more. I can't shape up those things in one simple 30-minute talk or something like that. So you'll see these are some keywords that you'll come across always. Like you'll hear a lot about the words around community, you hear a lot about content, contribution, community, connections, code, all of it. And these things are like the pyramid, I would say. These are the pyramid which really forms DevRel. And one big spine to all of this has been the community itself. So you might run amazing DevRel programs. You might be mastering that plan, but it's never really a plan unless your community is contributing to it. So communities has been the spine of all of this always in DevRel. So how do we all start? First of all, it's been a tough year for all of us. Take a deep breath. It's important because it helps you keep hydrated. It helps you keep staying with that confidence to avoid burning out, because it's been tough times. It's been tough times for all of us over the last few months and almost a year now. And I'm pretty sure everyone out there, like you have three allocations, if I have to say, from a DevRel point of view. You could talk from a brand point of view, you could say from an organizer point of view, or you could say from a developer point of view, who is actually receiving or consuming or contributing to that entire set of resources that you're building. So all three major stakeholders in the DevRel ecosystem needs to breathe. Yes, it's important. Like even if you are contributing, you need to breathe. Even if you're organizing, you should breathe. Even if you're building something, you should breathe. So take that deep breath before we get started with today's entire thoughts and sessions and all of it. So when I started this year in 2020, I had a bunch of plans and bunch of things that I wanted to do, like working with a lot of communities, working with a lot of user groups, working with a lot of products, working with a lot of student hackathons, working with a lot of conference organizers to speak at some of the conference or help them run some conferences. I had an amazing plan. Like this was like literally my plan, which covered a lot from multiple continents that I wanted to be at. And let's accept that we all had this thoughts around looking into DevRel. Like you wanted to help multiple communities, you wanted to help a lot of developers out there. You had this general perspective of looking beyond your just local region, looking beyond multiple things, more from a global perspective, where you had multiple continents or multiple communities that from multiple places that you wanted to help. This was literally my calendar. Like I was ready, like this is the conference I wanted to be at. I'm going to submit CFPs. These are the hackathons that I'm going to be at, mentor some of the students and developers out there. These are some of the product sprints that I'm going to participate in. Like it was jam packed. Like at least I'm not saying it was a entire flow for the year. At least for my starting of my 3 to 6 months, I had my plans ready in this way. And I'm pretty sure it was a lot for a lot of other professionals in DevRel as well. Like you had your stuff ready, all of this calendar. But times changed. Time changed completely everything. Like, and we all, like, this was the first thing that I did when all of this changed. Like, how am I going to get back to that, sprint, that mode I was in? And then, a good thing which I've seen, like in, my manager and my, leadership team, and they're like, take that deep breath, calm down. And it has changed, of course. It's tough time for a lot of us. And they motivated me. They, helped me in, structuring this and understanding the entire flow of work, not from, looking beyond those, continents or beyond, those, cities or beyond those communities, not from that region perspective. They wanted me to think not with those barriers of, locations. Have a calendar without those locations. You still can do. And I took that as a message and I started working on it. So this time I didn't have a calendar which had, these are the conferences I want to be at. I still want to help those developers. I can do that. I can sit at home. I can, be at a conference, attend so many conferences virtually, attend a lot of product sprints, attend a lot of, hackathons online. I can help developers still. So this is how I structured my new calendar next time when I spoke to my folks out there in my team. And we didn't this time have a calendar which was with specific regions. And it was a calendar which had scale in it. What is the difference in this entire thing? This DevRel calendar was more like a marathon and not those small sprints, which earlier it was. That helped me in shaping things more at scale. I was pretty much sorted with the calendar and, creating all of this in first 1.5, 2 months. This time I was like looking into a broader picture that, I can help if I am working closely with the Python user group. I should be able to, help them not just across in my chapter, city chapter. I should be able to help them across as well. So that was a plan, which I started off with. And of course, we all started in this way, especially for all folks out there in DevRel. We all started, with this thing, setting up your workspaces, creating amazing spaces, and literally it becomes sport. Like you have Champions League, you have La Liga Championship, and you have so many things. You have all this Champions League. This nothing was less. This was no less. This too became a sport and real time all on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere, where everyone started working and making their spaces beautiful and doing all of it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's definitely something I too participated in. I too was setting things up, making sure, I have this amazing gear to, support conferences, help developers at the end of the day. I did that too. And this thing made me sure that, hey, I am now really prepped up all out there to help the community, help developers the way which I want to. And over the time, again, I realized it's hard. The place where I struggled the most was engaging with an audience. Am I really talking to someone, or am I just facing in front of the camera, talking to just myself out there, like watching? Is it like, one-to-one conversation that I'm trying to have? Am I being able to make that conversation happen? Am I able to make it a one-to-many? Is my audience able to consume the content, or is it just, playing it in the background and doing something around? So I'm pretty sure like any conferences, anything might be hard, especially when it's online. Like the good part is also that you get to, reach a larger audience, but also the sad thing is might be hard times for a lot of speakers, for a lot of, folks who are watching it. They can watch it maybe later on as well, but it's hard engaging. Like the interaction that you really do online, it's very hard, especially when it's completely an online and not at all at least a hybrid model. So it became tough for me as well. And folks out there have raised a lot of thoughts around how can we make this better. Of course, the transition will take time. It's been some 8 months that we all, or 10 months that we all are in this entire situation. Of course, Rome wasn't built in a day, so will not this entire DevRel ecosystem moving from a offline completely to an online thing. So yeah, it's gonna take time. Let's make it better. So there are ways to do that. One big thing is this. At Microsoft, when I work closely with a lot of this entire DevRel crew, which I'm a part of, we see the picture as not just us being running the show, or not just us being running the communities. We are building leaders out there in the community to run those activities. You are building some, leaders out there in the community to be advocates for you. That will help you scale in the region. Talk about any region in general. And you can take examples of user groups, you can take examples of local communities, you can take examples from audience segments, anywhere you want to run scalable programs. You can't do it alone with an engineering team, or with your DevRel team with 200, 500,000 people only. You might hire a lot of people, especially when it's online, when it's a thing about scalability. You have to make sure that your community is advocating for you. You have to drive programs, making sure the community advocates those programs for you, not just you advocating for matching just your OKRs. Help them do that. Help the community, enable the community to be advocates. That's one of the key things which I've learned, and it's something that we practice very often. Like you talk about professional developers, we have amazing programs in Microsoft, the MVP programs. You want to focus on the student developers, there are student ambassador programs. Like these programs are not there just enjoying the perks of Microsoft only. No, definitely there are perks, but these are also advocates of the Microsoft community. So help these enable these programs that you run for your brands to make them where you just don't use it to just get your product feedback or customer feedback, or just get contributors to your project. Help them to become advocates as well. In multiple ways you can do that. What drives a quality DevRel in organization? What I've learned over the past 1.5 years staying in Microsoft is this: content. And content plays a very key role, especially with any segment that you talk about and any developers. Let's take a slight transition from what we are talking about right now. This is GoPro Instagram page. I'm pretty sure if you are someone traveling, a lot, or love clicking photographs, getting hold of action cameras while you're on the go, this is probably one of those pages that you always follow, right? GoPro. And this is not at all completely related to DevRel, I know. But the reason why I'm showing this is these are content creators. These are community advocates as well. They are creating content, they're creating stories, they're creating conversations. They don't have just their team to capture those moments. They run this entire community of GoPro, not just by their employees, by anybody, literally anybody sitting out somewhere, in one of those remote locations in Asia, somewhere in remote locations of Africa, or somewhere in Europe as well. Like it's definitely possible. And that's how they connect with the community. Like you connect with cultures, you connect with, a lot of causes, and that's how you drive a great team of a community. This is like a perfect example, when I have to say, of creating content from the community. You want to do more? Let's get a little transition from a tech point of view. I'll give you an example. When I mean that you want your community to be an advocate, you have to empower them to do that. This is Kunal. He is a student, final year engineering student out of India. He runs an amazing community. He's, a good student, not just from a grades point of view, but also contributing to a lot of open source projects. He does everything literally to almost make sure that he has a good developer portfolio. And he's working on that portfolio rather than just his degrees. He's creating content. And this is one of those screenshots that I've taken from his YouTube channel that he's doing. He's building a community. He's building a community of, teaching a lot of students who are his not just, fellow mates, but also across. He's engaging with a lot of communities, open source project maintainers, connecting with a lot of developers out there in his community to get connected or contribute to a lot of projects. He's creating a lot of content. This is an example where one of our student ambassadors is not just consuming the content that he's getting from Microsoft, but is also recreating the content. This is how we are making that change, where the community isn't just consuming all that you give. When you talk about community, it has to do a lot of collaboration, where in return the community also contributes back. They are also making your documentation better. They're also making your community code of conduct better. They're also making sure there is enough proper coverage around DNI and a lot of other aspects, especially when they are doing activities in the region or maybe in the communities. So these are some of these examples that we all have to make sure we practice, especially when we want to run a quality engagement in the community. Help them. Help is what we all are here for. And I'm pretty sure that anybody who is in this kind of a role is here to make sure that they're able to help the community, help developers. One big reason that one must invest in helping others is building trust. If you want to really build trust, you can't just allow someone to consume things for you, or you can't just get your KPIs just matched just for your cause. You want to build trust. You want to do. There's a lot which happens around relationship building, especially in DevRel, and it's very hard to measure. Like if I have mentored a student for couple of years, and there is a story behind it, I can't really measure it with the relationship I have had, especially being in DevRel, with just metrics. It's hard. The story could be in some way where you're not just empowering the student to skill themselves up on the particular technologies, but also later on, you see in 6 months time they get an internship, or in 8 months time they start working with some of the other projects that he or she is interested in, and a lot more, and then they finally end up in a great job. So these programs that I have been involved with over the time, I've seen there are a lot of stories that are there which is less covered or less captured. But there, when you especially talk about DevRel as a picture and all of it, one major thing is collaboration. How does collaboration come into picture, especially when I've talked about a lot that this is Kunal or that's Kunal's story around where he's trying to empower others as well. Especially when it's offline to online, I have realized the frequency of these activities has increased over time. There is an opportunity, most important, especially for out there, for anybody who is advocating for content, advocating for a lot of open source projects, being in DevRel as full-time roles and all of it. But there are other ways to help also. Like there is a lot that you can do behind the screens as well. Like I am delivering a session today. Like probably one of the sessions that I'm always interested to speak about is helping others, and you can help a lot behind the screens also. You don't need always have to be that person delivering things always on stage or even on the virtual stage. You can do a lot more. One of those and major thing is helping or shaping the content strategy for any virtual activity that the community is doing. Yes, and it's a major concern. I'll tell you why. I come across a lot of student proposals or student communities, local chapters. They used to run a lot of student programs and community activities in their regions. Earlier, it used to happen just offline at their universities or their colleges or anywhere. And this is in general. They had a bunch of things that they used to run or drive things in. But I then started looking things more from a closer, especially things getting online, where people started reaching out that, hey, come speak at this particular conference that we are doing, or this community meetup. I realized that what they have really planned is they're looking more from a visibility point of view. Like they're working less on the content. Like these are some of the topics that we should be covering. And in generic, like you could talk from a tech point of view, you should talk from a soft skills point of view. Like you being a professional in DevRel, you know what is really required for any audience. Help them in structuring that content strategy. It is important. Like if we don't educate the community about how we can empower people to, become better at DevRel or become better in building good content or building better good content strategy, how will the community really realize? Because they'll keep doing that same content again and again. They'll look for great speakers and not really focus on the content. So major thing, please help the community to build a content strategy for any virtual activity. It is important. Next thing, a lot of people complain that I'm not getting enough support from big brands or support from big organizations, support from a lot of members out there in DevRel who is actually doing great work. How they claim about sponsorships, and it's been major concern. I know, like a lot of communities really lack a lot of support from big organizations in this. Next time, and this is something I've tried learning over time, where I see there is always a same segment of deliverables that is being shared to brands, and the same sponsorship thing and all of it. You might be someone really great in creating proposals because you were a part of a community before. Now the tables have turned. You have been on the other side where you are helping the community. Now you too can help the community create those deliverables or structure those deliverables that will help you in giving enough budget or giving enough support from a sponsorship point of view to the community. The reason is, next time you get an email with a proposal which you are not really happy with, add some comments. Don't just reject saying that this, that, excuses. Help them to structure things so that next time they reach out to you, they know what are your priorities as well. Next time when they reach out to you, they know that what are your priorities and what are your company goals as well. Random emails are not always welcomed by any one of us, we all know, but make that effort. Only then the community will grow, and it will help the community to sustain as well. Because after 10-20 emails of sponsorship rejection or even not getting responded, I'm pretty sure the organizer gets upset around not getting things in place. Even if you can't help with something, help the other way around. And this is some of the practices which I've learned from a lot of experts out there. Getting connected with a lot of conferences where I was not even a part of probably, but a lot of people out there in being professionals, they make it an effort that if they're not able to support with, say, sponsorship, they try to connect with some great speaker or help them with some other things that might be relevant to that conference or that community. So yeah, make sure you make that effort to help people the way that you can. And this will help things more to the community to not just stress on small issues, because they're there to do great stuff, and we are here to help them. Next thing, and the most important thing, is being in these roles. It's hard, and a 30-minute session will not shape up a great nutshell of DevRel. It's very hard, and I too can't do that, and it takes time. It has a lot to do with people. It has a lot to do with products. It has a lot of doing with a lot of understanding of relationships with a lot of people. So it's hard to measure, and it keeps you hanged upon a lot of things. And these are some of these key things which I want to give as a final takeaway. Scale through content. It will help you grow that program. Enable your community to be advocates. That helps. I've shown enough examples. Collaborate with the community to do more. It is important. Only then things work out. Being in DevRel is hard. You are almost wired up every now and then. Like could be on your social or anywhere else. And it's very hard, I know. So make that effort to take breaks. Breaks could be for any timings or anything, especially when you're working with a lot of communities. You are a people person at some instance, I know. Could be on stage, off stage, anywhere. You're building those relationships. So take those times off. It will help you in staying in the program or staying in this ecosystem for longer and helping the community more. Most importantly, breathe. And that will help you stay in the ecosystem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your talk, and you spend the time completely perfect. So sorry, we have no Q&A time right now, but I put on the question on the private chat, so please answer it on the Twitters or some social medias.
Sure, I'll do that. And I'm happy to reach out, and feel free to reach out if there's any questions on Twitter. Happy to chat. And thank you so much once again for hosting this. I'm pretty sure the ecosystem needs more of people like you to grow in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you.